Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse podcast. Hopefully you're watching. Way better to watch than to listen. But if you're watching, you already know who's here. If you're listening, you can probably guess. But it is Doc. Are you a co-host? Are you or honorary guest? What do you want to be titled, man? Like
We'll see.
Which kind of promotion should we give you here live without John's permission?
Man, it just really depends on what I bring to the table, right? Like if I'm appearing once every 2 to 3 weeks, I think that makes me more of a hired goon, like a gunslinger. If I'm there every week, or even if I'm here more consistently, then I become co-host.
I think your co-host status. I'm going to grant you that without John's
permission. You do it every week right now.
Yeah, you're doing every week, and it's the off season. You're doing every week and the off season. That's definitely co-host efficient right there.
All right.
So co-host Doc Eisenhower. Follow Doc at Doc Eisenhower on the X, and of course it's me, Tim Kanak. You can follow me at Fantasy Aceball. And today we are going to be discussing the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Doc, what are you drinking? What do you got there?
Oh, it's garbage, man. I'm part of the government shutdown thing, so completely down to very little money, super broke. So we are dealing with the biggest bottle of Evan Williams. It's so, dude, I'm not enjoying it. You see my face, I'm not wincing. I'm not what am I doing here? I know what I'm doing here. I like whiskey, but my favorite whiskey, if I'm going to go and splurge on nice whiskeys and then cut back on other things for my wife and children, it's where my priorities at kind of deal. Right. So, I figured that was a bullet I could bite.
Oh, well, you can just share the whiskey with them. But
that's also true. When they get a little bit rambunctious, get those tolerance get out of control, just take a little whiskey.
Sorry, no apple juice this week. We've got this. Here you go.
I become a snob though. I become a snob, man. When it's. I think I busted this out last time. When you have one of these, that's how you know you made it big, man. That was my last big paycheck before the shutdown. And I got this nice American single malt whiskey. And I got spoiled. And now back to Evan, baby. Back to
it sounds like we're coming back soon, right? It sounds like government's going to be right back.
I just found out I might not get paid till a whole nother week, though. I thought tomorrow I was back in, but I got to wait one more week. It's okay. God is good. My life is a blessing. We're good. We're doing podcasts here.
I may wince because I'm drinking this stuff called fire cider. I have sick kids because these kids always catch stuff from other kids. That's the worst part of having kids, is that the kids will get sick from other kids. And then you're like, man, I hate those other kids that I don't even know. I hate all those anonymous kids because they're getting my kids sick.
Are you smashing vitamins?
It's called fire cider.
So you smashing vitamins as well?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm taking all my wife's potions. She gives me all kinds of crap. Raw milk. We talked about raw milk before. I'm drinking anything she hands me, I drink. But this fire cider stuff is basically, I can barely even smell it. It's apple cider vinegar with honey and a bunch of weird stuff mixed in. But if I had to describe what this tastes like, I would guess that this tastes like a Mexican bear's piss. That's what I would, if I had to describe the taste.
It's very specific.
I would give it.
I respect it.
It's because there's a little bit of spice in this.
You need to put a little whiskey in there, make it a hot toddy.
Oh, for sure. That'd be better. Actually, that'd be way better.
I had the bad COVIDs. I had the bad COVIDs. At one point, I literally have a mug. We'll get to baseball soon, folks. But I had a coffee mug, and it was it says everything's bigger in Texas, and it's the size of, it's bigger than this. And so this is a big,
it's like a stein. Yeah, it's
bigger. It's the biggest thing you can imagine. It's obnoxious, and I would fill it up with just all this tea and honey and lemon and whiskey. So
yeah, that's the move. I'm gonna put whiskey in this next.
Yes.
I have to leave the mic to do that, so I will not do it during the podcast. You have my word. So let's get to the Diamondbacks. Number 20 is Yu-Min Lin, who probably, for me, I think I had him a bit higher. He wasn't quite top 10, but a year ago, he was kind of more in the teens mix. He had a pretty bad year. I'm going to pull his F scores up here real quick, Doc, but you got any quick words on Yu-Min Lin?
Yeah, he's a soft tosser. He's tiny. Isn't he sitting at 86? It's
he has very low velocity for sure.
I'm not a velo king. But it's funny. This guy got got a lot of hype. You're right. Like a year ago, I think it was. Yeah, I can even see right here on his Baseball Reference. Baseball Prospectus had him as a number 74 overall prospect heading into the 2024 season. So it's actually, I guess that's 2 years ago now. Geez, time's flying by. But yeah, I mean, he might be fine, but probably won't be. He doesn't have like immaculate command. His strikeouts seem to go up and down. I don't know, man. It's maybe he can settle in as like a middle reliever. I don't think it's a whole lot of reason to get excited about this guy.
Yeah, I kind of liked him last year because he's fun because he throws so many pitches. Like if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the arsenal. He has 8 pitches that he throws. But last year, this is why I kind of liked him last year. He had a much better command, an 8% walk rate, a 3.84 JA ERA last year. This year, and he was so bad this year. Let's see. Just this year, his walk rate jumped from 8%. Oh, it's only 5%. That's actually pretty good. But a 17% K rate. Oh, that's atrocious. 4.53 ERA. Like, I guess he just wasn't finding his spots. But yeah, the fun thing about Yu-Min Lin is look at all these pitches. He throws 8 pitches, which is insane. So what is it? FO? I don't even know what a FO is. Do you know what an FO is, Doc?
Fork?
Oh, that's what it is. Totally. Yeah. Forkball. There we go. Look at that. Look at all these pitches this guy throws. That's the fun thing. I'm like, I used to be like, he's like a little mini Yu Darvish with no velocity, but he's actually
160 pounds.
Yeah. He's way worse. Like way. You can't even talk about him and Yu Darvish together anymore. He's a wannabe Yu Darvish. He's like the little league Sandlot version of Yu Darvish. That's Yu-Min Lin. So let's go to stop the spoiling the name of Yu-Min Lin here and go to number 19, Drew Jones, who you actually wanted to expand on a little bit. So why don't you tell us all why you wanted to discuss Drew Jones today, Doc?
So at one point I was up there with Ross Jensen. We were a couple of the rogue guys who were on Team Jackson Holiday over Drew Jones. That was a controversial take at one point. The fantasy community was all in and confused why anyone would think otherwise. Drew Jones can't miss. Well, it turns out you can, at least temporarily. I think that people have kind of moved on, like he's never going to figure it out. He just played this season as a 21-year-old. He will be 22 next year. I mean, that's kind of like he could be coming out of college right now. If you want to think about it that way, this could be his first year in pro ball. But except he's actually got a couple years experience now. And his last season wasn't unbelievable or anything, but it was what you needed to see to have hope. So we had his K rates were up closer to 30% before 2025. It was, 26, 28. And last year he got it down to 23% K rate while taking some nice walks. Contact percentage went up too. Again, last year he actually went up. This is worth noting too. Of course, he's, getting older for level if it was low A, but he went up to high A all of last season as a 21-year-old, which I believe is like actually age appropriate. High A as a 21-year-old, 76% contact rate. That's way up from when he first burst onto the scene, like sub 70, right? So it's taking some time, but he's getting there slowly but surely. There's still risks. The power's still not really where you want it to be, but he did steal 28 bags last year, and he did so efficiently. He's got some people say he's got Gold Glove caliber defense potentially one day, like his old man. Being 6'4", 180 is a lot of projectability. This could just be a situation where it takes time, but at least to start wherever he's at right now, like nobody's talking about him. Like he's super underrated. I think it's worth just a lottery ticket flyer. Go out and see what the cost is. Unless you have the number one Drew Jones fan, maybe some guy who bought him at peak hype in the FYPD who doesn't want to let him go. But if you can get him for someone who's ready to move on, I recommend that.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked by these F scores, how good they are. Like I knew he had a better season last year, but I guess I didn't know relative to the rest of the league that he was actually like better than even what I thought. So 95 power, 100 hit, 102 discipline, 112 speed. So that's actually not bad. Like that's projecting out that he's going to be a major leaguer, which is better than we were like a year ago. Is he going to be a superstar with stuff like this? Maybe not. But if he has Gold Glove caliber defense with some of this stuff, then, I don't know. Byron Buxton took a while to break out, and he was a top prospect. So maybe that's someone to think about with Drew Jones. Like, I don't, like Byron Buxton's really good right now when he's healthy. But like, if you remember, Byron Buxton was looking like a bust for like a few years. And then all of a sudden he started performing really well. So there could maybe be that kind of path here for Drew Jones. But like worst case scenario, if he's, like putting up 70, 80 great glove, yeah, like a Harrison Bader here, like worst case scenario, is still a major league player. So I don't think he's like, someone to throw out. And he was actually better than I thought because I don't think I had the F scores when I did the Arizona Diamondbacks ranking because I was like one of the first teams. So now that I look at this, I'm like, oh, it's a lot better than what I thought.
He's a safer bet than like a Carson Williams or a Spencer Jones, even, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like Spencer Jones quite a bit, actually. Kind of weird. But I'm pulling up Jorge Soler instead of Yasel Soler here. But our next player, number 18, is Yasel Soler in the system. And he's basically all power. So 19-year-old, 106 power. All his other scores here on the F scores are below average, only slightly. 99 hit, 99 discipline, 91 speed. This is a guy who had a really bad start to this year. He was really good last year, but he did finish the season strong. So I just pulled up second half numbers for him, more or less. And second half, he had a 276 average, 417 OBP, 469 slug, 886 OPS. So he had a really bad first half, like really bad. And a lot of people just completely forgot about him. But this second half here for him was really good. 100% stolen base success rate, 5 for 5. Not too shabby there for Soler. So Yasel Soler, I look at like these halves, some of these second halves. He's a nice rebound candidate, just like how I talked about Yeremy Cabrera on the last pod as a rebound candidate. So I kind of like Soler a little bit. But the guy that I want to talk to, Doc, do you have anything on Soler before we move on?
I'll keep an eye on the stolen bases, though. I mean, he hasn't got caught stealing since 2023. It's nice. So maybe he'll do it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's efficient right there. So the guy that I want to talk about is Gavin Conticello. So Conticello, I'm going to pull up his F scores real quick here. Had a very, very okay season, but the F scores love him. So like you look at his slash line, 223, 342, 359. F scores give him 104 power, 104 hit, 96 discipline, 96 speed, 110 durability. Sorry, that's only in the first or in the second half. So had a good first half, bad second half is what we're seeing here with the slider. But the F scores like him a lot. And one of the things that I like about him is just his swing. So I'm going to pull up here. I'm going to try to John it and see if I can actually pull up video like our friend. Let's see if I'm smart enough to do this. Check this out, dude. I like this swing. This is him back before he was drafted. Nice lefty swing. Nice and easy. That's what you want to see. I really like his swing. And then the other thing here, Conticello, as like John said, we're getting more advanced, showing some video on the podcast now. Check this out. Home run off of Shohei Ohtani. Boom. If this dude can homer off of Shohei Ohtani, he's got a pretty darn good hit tool, I would say. So
he must have asked for that baseball back.
Oh, I totally would have. But I like Gavin Conticello. He plays third base. He also plays in the outfield. Third base kind of sucks for like prospects. So I'm always like looking for like, hey, what third base player can kind of stick out at this point. So 16 is JD Dix. A lot of people are on JD Dix. How do you feel about JD Dix, Doc? Would you have him ranked higher than 16?
Well, I was just gonna say that just like it's like a very quick moment, but another reason when you're looking at your FYPDs and Ethan Holiday's just slipping away, it's like what did you just say? You just said third base is kind of no man's land right now, right? And I think that's a reason to not let him slip too far because he's almost certainly going to be a third baseman. JD Dix, yeah, I haven't really been in on him to the same degree as others are, and I can see, I'm just like, I'm trying to look at the stats again right now, make sure I didn't miss anything crazy recently. But yeah, 6'2", 180, I like that. But where's the power? Kind of efficient stealing bases like that could hold up, which is nice. He's got some okay contact skills. I don't know. I guess he played last year as a 19-year-old, so there's a long road ahead. There could be more power to come. I guess that's what you have to project, right? I just remember this. I don't remember at any point in his prospect, like coming out of the draft, I didn't hear about him being a big power guy. I just like, because of his frame, because of his speed right now, I'm thinking Jake McCarthy, which has a ceiling, right? Like has a ceiling that I think JD Dix is like, I think his hype level is not out of control, but it's just a little bit higher than I'm willing to pay right now, typically.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things that I look at here is he had a 297, 404, 406 slash. Everyone's going to say he almost hit 300 with a 400 OBP. Like this guy should be ranked way higher. And he's big and has projectable power that he may be able to get into. Like you mentioned, he has never really shown to get into any power thus far in pro ball. I mean, he is young. He did play at 19 this year. But the BABIP here, he ran a 385 BABIP this season. So a lot of what we're seeing here in the hit tool is BABIP driven. That's why he only has a 98 hit despite almost hitting 300, because the contact rates, as you mentioned, are okay. 76%. That's
Solid.
fine. But a 385 BABIP shows that his batting average had a lot of BABIP drivenness to that. I don't really know how else to describe that besides just it's kind of BABIP driven there, and like there's probably going to be some regression coming for JD Dix in the batting average department, I would say. So, do you have anything else on Dix before we move?
Man, yeah, I can't believe I missed this too. He actually, I was actually misreading his stats here. I'm not using not wearing my glasses right now. Yeah, I mean, when he went to low A, the numbers looked a lot more like he went down to 261 batting average, which he had a great OBP, 391. Like this is fine for his first year in pro ball, right? But I think that paints more of a picture. He spent a lot of time in the complex, so 50 games at low A and 261 batting average is more of like where we're at right now.
Yep. So next here is going to be on the list after JD Dix is number 15, AJ Vukovic. So this is kind of an interesting name because he's been around for a long time. Probably a lot of prospect fatigue with Vukovic. He's never really been like a stud, but I think he could be like an interesting bench bat that could actually do some things at the major league level. You can see here, he actually has some nice EVs. 104.3 90th EV, a 91.2 average EV, 109.8 max EV. Those are major league caliber. They're not, otherworldly or anything, but he has a 107 power and a 104 hit tool. Like you can do something with that. And again, third base, and he's 24 and played in AAA this year. So there is a proximity factor for AJ Vukovic as well. And he had 20 bombs this year. Now, high strikeout rate, 29%. We don't really like that. He's got a 91 discipline. But if you can get some power from a third baseman who is way, way under the radar, I kind of like Vukovic a little as kind of like just a guy who could actually maybe help you next year in some leagues.
Did you ever watch Bats and Stats, Ross Jensen's old podcast with Brian Shanks? Yeah, you weren't you? No, you were on Dynasty Dingers at FYPD. Yeah. Anyway, this was his. They would just get drunk and just talk. More drunk than me. Shanks would crank like 5 beers in a podcast. Anyway, big guy. They're both from out there in like Montana and Idaho. It's kind of funny. Anyway, I remember him being a big Vukovic guy. He's like, this guy, he just goes pure gut. This guy is funny. It's like, I just like this Vukovic guy. He's just gonna be a stud based on basically nothing. But I think you're right. I think it's concerning the levels of strikeouts here, but it's not like impossible. It's not impossible for him just to kind of hover around. Like look at Nolan Gorman, who's looking like he's probably not going to work out, but he's gotten plenty of chances, right? Vukovic is kind of in that territory. His last season as a 23-year-old, 27% K rate. Now that's going to probably go up a little bit, but it's down from what it was before, right? And he's taking a bunch of walks, and that power, yeah, like you said, it's hard to find. Great EVs. Solid EVs, and the contact rates aren't out of control bad. In fact, 70% last year. It's not promising. I don't love the contact skills, but take a flyer on a guy nobody's talking about.
Yeah, for sure. So next on the list is going to be the guy in this little group here that I really wanted to dig into. It's number 14, Brian Curley. Brian Curley came out of Georgia, was drafted out of Georgia. This dude is a ton of fun. I don't think he pitched in the minors, so we won't have any data on him, but he does throw 100 miles an hour. And he's also like a small dude. He's 5'10", 212 pounds.
That's not
And
small. That's just different.
for a reliever, for a pitcher, right?
I want to see this guy's body because 5'10",
Yeah.
212 is thick.
I'm gonna put him up here because this guy is fun. He like does little dance. He throws 100 and he does little dances and stuff when he gets guys out. Like he kind of reminds me, I guess, of like Gage Jump, but he's a righty a little bit. I would say because he's like a shorter guy who throws it really hard. I'm gonna pull him up right here. Here we got him on the screen. Nice production value here. But he's kind of infamous for being a little bit braggadocious. And this guy just has a ridiculous fastball. So that's the fun part is that he averages like 95 to 97, tops out at 100. And then he's also got a really nice slider. So, I mean, there is obviously with it like a short guy like this who's like big time fastball slider, there's going to be some relief risk here with him. But he's a ton of fun. So I'm all about Brian Curley, and his command is actually like not bad either. You might think, oh, this guy throws 100. He's probably like Joe Boyle. But in college, he had a 11.6 K minus 9 and a 3.6 walk over 9. So I did that for you, Doc, because I know you like K minus 9 and walk over 9. So I'll give you those numbers right there. But 21.4 K minus walk. So
there you go. Now, this guy, I know. I was like, that name seems familiar. He does like the Nestor Cortez thing, right? He kind of he'll delay at the last second sometimes.
Look at him there. See what I mean?
And he's doing like there's one clip that Rob Freeman had a compilation where he's like sticking his tongue out at the second, flicking his tongue toward the second baseman, or sorry, the runner on second. Anyway, he seems like he's a character, so I'll be rooting for him just because he'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Number 13 is second baseman, shortstop, Christopher Torin. Torin is a big hit tool guy. The problem with Torin is I don't really know like what else we're gonna get out of him. Let me pull him up here on the good old F scores. And so like Torin is another guy that some people are really high on. Probably, I'm sure that like the guys who are like more about let's go hit tool. Like Ross is super hit tooly. So he might like Torin a little bit more than other people. But you see here a 103 hit, 121 discipline, 102 speed, but not much power. Only 6 home runs on the season. And the speed, even though he did have 17 steals, this is something that you and I like to look at, Doc, only a 71% success rate. And he also only ran 13% of the time that he was in a position to run. So that's about average. It's not like this guy is a burner. Like he's at best like an average base runner. But when you look at the contact rates, you see 87% contact. You're like, oh, this guy's gonna have a great hit tool. But like that might be all he is like good hit tool. 11% walk, 14% K, so good discipline. But like, what else?
Yeah, no, I mean, Fangraph says he's got inconsistent defense. I have never seen him play defense, but that's not great, right? So I agree with your assessment. And then if you don't have stellar defense behind that too, this is probably a utility guy.
Yeah, for sure. So next that we have is Slade Caldwell. Slade Caldwell is kind of a big name. I might be lower than most people on Slade Caldwell. I feel like most people are probably going to have Slade Caldwell as a top 10 in this org. But I kind of get the like similar vibes. Like I just feel like he's a lot of hit. And then what else? Right? I mean, like he's got maybe more speed, but his stolen base success rate was actually worse. So I just pulled him up here. 71% stolen base success rate. That is not good.
More strikeouts.
94 power, 98 hit, 117 discipline, 109 speed. So maybe his foot speed is a little bit faster than Torrens, but he strikes out way more. His contact rate is way worse. He only had 2 home runs, so it's not like we're looking at a guy with like a lot more power. The thing that Caldwell has right now is just like pedigree. Like that's really the only reason that I have him ranked ahead of Torin, because Caldwell was a first rounder. So it's like he's got the pedigree bump to Torin, and he's still only 19. So like that's the only reason I really have him ranked over Torin, because Torin's kind of actually got him beat in most categories that we're going to look at for fantasy, right, Doc?
Yeah, no, it's a weird profile. I'm not super excited about him. I pretty much have him. I think you're correct that the industry has him higher than we do. Yeah, it's just something where maybe it could work out, but it'll be a project, and his hit tool is nowhere near Torrens. So I'd say he's actually less of a sure thing than Torrens. Torrens probably has a role in the league based on his supreme contact ability, as long as he can shore up one of his other tools there. But like defense or running more efficiently. But Caldwell, yeah, it's like, yeah, he's different. He's more jacked up, but that jacked upness has resulted in approximately 0 power. He had in 66 games at high A, 0 home runs.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Not great. Number 11, this is the guy that you wanted to talk about, Cole Drake. He's been a Doc favorite for ever since I've known you. So like over a year or whatever, that we've been hanging out together. Cole Drake has been a Doc guy. And you can see the F scores actually support him here, Doc. 106 stuff, 110 control, 103 FERA. Those are all good numbers. The only thing that he's fallen behind in is his durability, because I think he did have to deal with an injury this last year. How many innings did he pitch this year?
89, which is okay.
Yeah, 89. That's okay. I mean, it's below average, which is why he's getting 88, because the average starter is like 120 or whatever it is. But I want to hear what you have to say about Cole Drake, and then I'll kind of like piggyback on it.
Yeah, I mean, so in 2024, I believe he started breaking out. He did, yeah. So it was at high A. He broke out, had like a 12 K9, 2 walks per 9. Whoa, who's this guy, right? Maybe he's a little old for the level. Not really. He's 23, right? Great back of the baseball card stats. Then he went up to Double A at the end of the season, and then his like both strikeouts and walks kind of went the wrong direction just a little bit. Great ERA, but people were starting to wonder, okay, maybe that was a mirage. Well, then this last year he came out at Double A and started crushing it. 2.44 ERA, 55 innings, sub-1 WHIP, 11 K9, 3.6 walk per 9, which is fine. This is like, okay, we're back, and he's a lefty too. He's 6'5", 220. This is good. I like these things. He's got a solid arsenal. And then he went up to AAA, but he went up to the PCL, which we're not really remembering that, right? Where he got his ERA, his back of the baseball card went off the rails, not great. And I'm not even sure if he was maybe he was injured, or maybe they just had to make him sit down for a little bit, right? Because he was starting to let up a bunch of runs. His metrics weren't horrific. They got actually a little bit better in Arizona in terms of strikeout, but they were a little bit better in Texas in terms of walks. He's fine. Like I went around the bush there a little bit just to say we've seen this pattern before, and I saw that with Augustin Ramirez when he was coming up. It's something we should expect. You go to a new level, you struggle, then the next year you crush it. Like that's actually a fantastic sign. You're able to adapt to more competition, higher competition, because you're going to have that same thing play out on the major league level. So it's going to happen again and again, right? And then you're going to get rocked in the major leagues. Like Hayden Birdsong, what's his future like? We're about to find out. And I know he had similar issues of like when he first got to a level, struggling. So I don't give up on prospects unless like it's like pretty obvious that we should, but it's not obvious we should be giving up with Cole Drake at all. In fact, I think the future is bright, and I think he just no hype for him because he comes from nowhere. He's from Middle America, went to these small schools, Tennessee and Arkansas. And so, those weren't the schools, but he was in Arkansas Tech University in Russellville, Arkansas. He also went to a community college in Tennessee. So this is an underdog story, and I love those. He's not as small as Caleb Durbin. He's a bigger underdog, but I like those kind of underdogs. And I think he's going to work out. I think we'll see him this year in Arizona.
Yeah.
He's big league Arizona, not just spring training.
Yeah, we should. He's going to be 25 next year. And the season he put up, since 2024, so for 2 years, he has a 2.47 JAERA. So over a 2-year period, and under 2.5 Sierra for minor leagues. That's really good. And we just watched some video on him. The changeups and sliders that he was throwing in that video are very, very nice. Like, and when I'm watching him, it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Quinn Matthews, except he's actually finding the zone, right? So like that's kind of the difference. Is like maybe he is missing a couple ticks versus Quinn Matthews on some of the velocity, but he's actually finding the zone. And if you have similar movement on your pitches, and you're still coming at like that 6'5" lefty frame that Matthews has, but you're actually finding the zone, that's a good thing. And I agree. I think, like Gallen's gone, right? Like, do we really expect them to bring Gallen back? So they've got a spot in the rotation, at least one spot. And Drake is probably the first guy to get that, because even though there's other pitchers in this ranking that we're going to talk about, he's right on the doorstep.
It's a thin rotation.
Yeah, for sure. So next on our list, getting into the top 10, is another third baseman. The Diamondbacks have like the best third baseman. They have 3 guys in the top 20 on third base. That's like unheard of. It is Lou James Groover, third baseman here. He's actually been getting a decent amount of hype around prospect circles, and I like him. And I had someone ask me, they're like, he's not top 150 for you? No, he's not. He's not quite there yet. I do kind of like him, but I don't think that we have anything like really elite here. Kind of like some of the other guys that we've seen in the Diamondbacks org. They like to find hit guys, but there's not like a lot of skills besides that. It's like almost like the anti-Astros. They're doing like this. They're like trying to be the Guardians.
That's a funny quote. The anti-Astros. I like that.
Yeah, it's like all hit and plate skills, and then no power and speed. And then the Astros are the exact opposite, like all power and speed and no hit and plate skills. So they're just inverse organizations when it comes to hitting philosophy, I suppose. But we see here 60% stolen base rate is not good. So that's something to watch out for. Only a 3% attempt rate is also not good. So this guy is never going to run. Like, this is just, these things tell you that this guy is never going to run. He's like a 1 steal in a season guy, when he gets to the majors. But an 814 OPS, not bad. 103 hit tool because he's got an 83% contact rate. So there's some things to like here, like good contact, good plate discipline. He may grow into more power, but there's never speed coming for Lou James Groover.
Yeah, he used to be called Gino Groover. If anyone remembers that, Gino Groover coming out of the draft, he changed his name because his father and grandfather were named Lou James. So I forget. I think Gino was actually a nickname, and he's just like kind of reverting to his real name. Anyway, something like that. I like his game. I think he's got some sneaky upside. Yeah, he's not going to give you any speed, but he's not striking out at all. And he's taking a good amount of walks, and he's also finding power. It's developing. What are our yearly totals here? 2023, he had 1 home run in 27 games. In 2024, he had 10 home runs in 61 games, which was that was a good boost. Although he did play some games in the comp, whatever. Double-A this past year, 12 home runs. So it's actually, he had less of a good pace. He had a better pace in 2024. But my point is there's something here. He's 6'2", 212. So I wouldn't be surprised if this guy in his 80-plus contact rates, like he's got really good contact skills, big body, would not shock me if he finds 15-plus home run power. You're right, though. Will that light the world on fire? It doesn't look like he's already 23. Is he going to suddenly become a 25-plus home run guy? Probably not. I'm trying to find a good comp. I hate going to the well, Alec Burleson, but it's not Alec Burleson because he walks more too. But it's something in that territory of like a guy. We'll see what he means for fantasy, but he'll be an MLB player if he can play enough quality defense. He should be a starter, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he could definitely be a starter. It's going to be all about like how effective he's going to be at the major league level, and for fantasy is going to be all about if the power actually is developed. Because otherwise, like, do you really want like a 16 homer guy as your starting third baseman with like no speed as your starting third baseman in fantasy?
It's an awkward number, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
there's not a lot of guys hitting 16 home runs. There's less than you think.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the depth of the league. Like, you want him to be more like a 25 homer guy if you're getting a guy with no speed.
Get ready for the 30-man, brother. The 30-man's because I'm starting to interchange real life and fantasy, because when you get to that 30-man level, you take those 16 home runs from any position and you run with it, other than maybe first base. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It all depends on the league type here. So number 9, I'm going with another as my guy. I'm going to go with another draftee. It's Patrick Forbes, starting pitcher. He was drafted out of Louisville. This guy had some crazy numbers in college, Doc. I mean, he wasn't that great until last season, but in 15 starts, 71 innings, he had a 26% K- walk rate in college, 36.7 K rate. So like he was walking dudes, 10% walk rate, but 36.7% K rate is insane. Fastball throws mid 90s, can get to 100. 16 inches of induced vertical break on the fastball. Sinker. This guy throws a sinker almost 95 miles an hour. And this thing has 15 to 17 inches of horizontal run. Crazy pitch. Like that's seen as like a plus pitch. And then he also throws a sweeper. That is a pretty solid sweeper. So I'm going to throw some video up on the screen because this guy's one of the more fun FYPD guys, Patrick Forbes. Let me throw him up here if I can figure out how to do this thing. Why don't you talk about it? You got anything on Forbes, Doc?
Yeah, no, I do like him. Yeah, he's I looked into him recently. I was writing about the Diamondbacks for Prospects Live, and they got a good pitchers coming up to fill that thin rotation. And look at that, he's fired up there, huh? This is why you got to watch it, folks. This is great. You're not getting this on the audio only. But yeah, he seems like he's a pretty animated guy. I haven't really seen him pitch a whole lot. I like that because his numbers were impressing me, and also his size at 6'3", 220. Yeah, he's a little fire. He's a tall firecracker, righty. Yeah, I didn't know he's very animated on every single pitch. That's pretty funny. So yeah, that makes me like him even more. Yeah, but he was
a first rounder too.
Yeah, no, it's just a guy he's on my FYPD radar. I'm not gonna be able to get him in our league unless I'm going 1.2, which I'm not. This is someone who in like a 30 team for FYPD, he should be going first round probably.
Yeah, the fastball is a ton of fun. Like you gotta love a big fastball with that kind of ride, and the strikeouts that he was putting together. It's like before this season, he was kind of like he was relieving sometimes, starting sometimes, but couldn't get consistent. Like he jumped from a 26% K rate to 36.7 in 1 year. That's pretty phenomenal. So there you got some video of Patrick Forbes, and we are going to jump to our next player. That's number 8. Is it Jansel Luis or Hansel Luis? What is your guess on that one?
Whatever you feel sounds cooler. It's actually not up to him.
Hansel?
It's like the artist. Once the artist creates something and puts it into the world, it no longer belongs to the artist. Once this guy's parents put him into the world with a name that we don't know, that's ours now. We can say anything. Any way we want.
I would bet good money he prefers Jansel or something, but Hansel, because Hansel sounds like
Hansel's so hot right now.
Hansel and Greta, isn't that the story with the little kids in the cab, the little German kids in the cabin or whatever it is?
There's also Hansel from Zoolander.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird name, I guess. But I'm gonna pull his F scores up here. 105 hit, 98 power, 94 discipline, 116 speed. Again, terrible stolen base efficiency, 73% on the base paths, even though he had 22 steals. So he did try a lot. 25% attempt rate is not bad, but a 73% efficiency is not what you want. But hit tool is solid. So 310, 346, 425 slash with a 78% contact rate. The dude doesn't walk very much, but he also doesn't strike out. So again, similar profile to some of the other guys that we have talked about in this podcast that are Arizona Diamondbacks. One thing I do like is that he's a switch hitter. So switch hitting middle infielder who was at high A as a 20-year-old. So he is playing a little bit above age to level 2. So I guess we should give him a little bit of a bump for that and keep that in mind. What do you have on Luis before we move on to the next player?
Not much. I'm intrigued enough to keep him as a name to write down. I wouldn't have him higher than some of the other names that you had the last couple of guys we talked about, but I could have Groover and Drake above him, and Forbes actually. But he's cool. I would keep him on just outside the top 10, I think.
Yep. Next, number 7 is Mitch Bratt. This is another guy that you wanted to discuss. I think both of us like Mitch Bratt quite a bit. So why don't you go in on Mitch Bratt some?
Yeah, so what I had said to you before the show was that I would have him ahead of Cole Drake if he wasn't Canadian. Just we don't like those friggin', what do we call them? Snowbacks? I don't know. What's a good Canadian slur?
Like that.
Everyone, I was born in Canada, so I can say the Canadian slurs. It's okay. I am overcompensating now. I am now waving a USA shirt. And even this is that's great. I wasn't even planning a bit. I'm just wearing a USA shirt. I guess I'm just always wearing stuff like that. So maybe it's a high probability. But this guy's 6'1", 190, so not my like ideal frame per se. But as a lefty, he can make it work, right? I always love when these Canadians like realize that they're good at baseball and they have to go to America. This guy comes from this Toronto area, and then he went to high school in Georgia. So that's just such a funny culture shock to me. Goes down to Statesboro, Georgia. Anyway, he doesn't have he has good strikeout rate, so it's not like he's completely boring, but he has magnificent command. He had a 1.4 and 1.6. What was the total for the last year? 1.5. Do the math, right? 1.5 walks per 9 between the Rangers and Diamondbacks system last year. That's incredible. He's going to be a starter. He needs to stay healthy. You'll be a starter. We'll see if that frame holds up. It's a weird frame, 6'1", 190. Like as a hitter, I think that's like almost an ideal hitting frame. But as a pitcher, it's just a little shorter, just a little less weight. But hey, 6'1", 210, 6'1", 215. If you can put some weight on, maybe that pumps up the velo a little bit too. He's how old? Like 21 still, 22, but still 22. young guy. So lots of future, lots of time ahead of him. So I think he's underrated. He's a name, but he's not. He's always overshadowed by someone. I think he'll be a nice 3, 4, 5 starter. Maybe I think as upside of a number 3 in the big leagues, and someone you should be paying attention to. Yeah,
so a couple things about Brat that I love. If you were watching, you saw that fastball. That fastball is sick. We don't have any Arsenal data on it yet because he did not pitch in AAA, and we don't have A-ball data on it even. I can't wait to get the Arsenal data on that because the ride on that thing is insane. That was like a 10 strikeout game we just watched from him. So on the season at 25.1 K- walk, one thing, Doc, 122 innings. That's one thing Cole Drake didn't do. So Brat, I'm just saying 122 innings.
It's not like Drake's never done that, Like he did over 100 the year before, so calm down.
Yeah, true.
Well, true. And which level? Who's at what? Who's pitching the PCO at AAA?
Yeah, Drake's at AAA. Drake's at AAA. Brad's at AA.
I like them both. I honestly I have them right next to each other. I had to project the 2028 D-backs rotation. I had Corbin Bird still in town. I had Daniel Egan number 2. That's bold. And then Drake number 3, Brat number 4. I forget who had number 5, but I actually had Forbes in the bullpen just because I liked the guy at number 5. Who would it be? Obviously, it'd have to be a stud. Let me take a look at who we got next.
Patrick Corbin coming back for his retirement party.
Well, I'll think about it. But anyway, do you have more to say about Brat?
I was just gonna say he only had a 4.2% walk rate on the season, which is insane.
Incredible.
This guy has stellar command.
He's a safer bet than Egan or Drake. I'll say that he's a safer bet.
Yeah, his command is just so good that he's on point. So next we're gonna get to number 6, Kason Cunningham, another first rounder. I guess the D-backs had two. Wasn't he a first rounder? There's no way he fell out of the first round. I want to say D-backs had 2 first rounders. I feel like Forbes was one of them must have been one of those extra picks. Yeah, because Cunningham went 18th overall, so he must have been a comp pick here. So let's pull up Cunningham. We should have a little bit of data on him because I think he did play. He's a hit tool first guy too. So we have no F scores, but you do see. In 52 plate appearances, a 79% contact rate for Kason Cunningham. And we also know that he was 1 for 2 on steals. That doesn't really tell us that much. One thing that's very odd is that he struck out at a 29% clip in his 11 games, but the swing strike rate was 8.2%. So I think that's just him striking out, looking and trying to figure out how these college pitchers are pitching in the zone and stuff like that because he was a high school guy. But he has a potential 70 grade hit tool in Kason Cunningham. So, and I think I had him ranked 120 or 130 or something like that in my last rankings update. Eric Longenhagen, for instance, has him 2nd in the org. Are you a Kason Cunningham guy? We talked a lot about some first year player draft guys here. Are you going Cunningham or Forbes between the two?
Gosh, I was just trying to figure out the geeky. I feel like it's because Corbin Carroll. I don't know. Something happened because Forbes got picked 29th. It's throwing me off. Anyway, sorry. Let's go back to that. What you had there for Cunningham.
Yeah, I was just asking, are you Casey Cunningham or Patrick Forbes? If you have to pick one, and if you're an FYPD, who are you picking?
Man, if I had to pick one out of them, I mean, here's the deal, man. I don't like to go that early on pitchers. That's my thing, especially in honestly, you could make an argument either way. Like a deeper league, pitching's more harder to find. But then I'd say like there's just such a high chance of injury, right? Where the value will dip down. You can buy the hurt asset and then move on later. Whereas if you think Cunningham's the guy, I don't know as much about Cunningham. I don't have a strong feeling about him. I like Forbes more, but I will say that if we have reason to believe Cunningham can be a top guy, and we know Forbes is a pitching prospect where their paths are kind of tricky, and we haven't even seen him pitch a single inning in pro ball, that's tough to put him ahead of Cunningham.
Yeah, I agree. So number 5, getting in the top 5 here, I've got David Hageman, number 5. He came over in that Rangers trade. And I remember when that trade went down with Bratt coming over, Drake coming over, and Hageman coming over. Welsh actually went on X and said David Hageman is the best player in this trade. And at first I was like, I don't know. I really like Mitch Bratt. I don't know about that. And then so I started watching a bunch of David Hageman video, and I fell in love with the kid. I had him as top 135. I had him at 134 prospect last time out during when I did my prospect updates. I gave him a 65 grade on the fastball, 65 on the slider, 50 to 55 on the sweeper, and 40 to 45 on the change with potential 60 grade command. This dude is big, and he was he drafted out of West Virginia as a reliever, and he finally was put into his starter role, 3/4 arm slot, and he has a 10 vertical break. So with induced vertical break, that's probably looking at like a 16 to 18 induced vertical break on the fastball. So I like a lot of the stuff that I see from Hageman, and some of the statistics also that he was putting up are ridiculous. You got anything on Hageman while I try to bring him up here on the page, Doc?
Yeah, I remember my 5th starter I had penciled in. It was Ryan Nelson, who's their best starter last season. So I had to show the kid some respect. It's not the sexy pick, but I had him as the number 5. Hageman I had in relief. So if you're going to go ahead and dock Drake, I mean, dude, Hageman would dream for Drake's season, right? He's 42 innings last year. He did give us an extra 12 in the fall league, and then 35 the year before that at college. It's just he's never really given us anything close to 100 innings, and he's young, but he'll be 23 next season, like for the whole season, pretty much. So I think if they want to get this kid up, and again, they have a deep list of prospects, pitching prospects. They have Christian Mina as well, who I guess graduated by your standards. I don't see him on the list, or did I miss him? I don't know.
No, I just don't have him on there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Bold choice. Hageman, this is why I have Doc here, folks. I got to keep this rogue Han Solo type Tim Kanak in line, just keeping Christian Mina off lists entirely. Look, I'm paying attention. So David Hageman, I do like he's big. I like his stuff. I just think he's a reliever.
Yeah, there's a potential 116 stuff, 121 control, 112 FERA. The F scores are insane, and I just look at the swinging strike rate, Doc. It's too sexy for me to stay away.
You people are crazy. You're all the same.
18.4% swinging strike rate in a over 37% CSW on the season. The guy is a beast.
I screamed from the mountaintops about Daniel Espino. I said, please, you have to make him a reliever. He'll never pitch. He'll hurt himself too much. And look what's happened. Mason Miller, I said they have to convert him. People got so mad at me about that one. And then it happened. And I'm like, it's not even the worst thing. He's going to be great. And what do you know? He's like the best closer in baseball.
But look at his pitch count, Doc. He was throwing 60 to 65 pitches towards the end of the season. So there's build-up here. Like next year is going to be the build-up year for Hageman.
I hope it works out for him. It's good. He'll be great either way. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay. So if you have David Hageman you're in a fantasy league, trade him to me. Don't trade him to Doc. Correct. Number 4 is Tommy Troy. Tommy Troy making a comeback this year. Like he was left dead in the water last year, Doc, and then he's had actually a really nice year this year. I have him. Where did he was a top 150 for me? Where did I have him here? I had him at 118. So nice little spot here for Tommy Troy. Nice little season. 99 power, 102 hit, 107 discipline, 107 speed. Like he was almost like a poor man's Kalen Culpepper this year, I would say. 83% stolen base rate, so that's not bad. That was better from his 76 last year. So, and he also ran. He actually ran less, was just more efficient this year to get 24 steals. Contact rates looking up, made it to AAA. So 82% contact, almost 90% zone contact here for Tommy Troy in AAA. So are you on this Tommy Troy bandwagon? Like the EVs aren't too hot, right? But we've got really nice hit. We got some speed. And despite the low EVs, he just seems to run into pop.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him as a pretty sturdy, safe guy early on out of the draft. And then, yeah, I kind of lost faith, if you want to say that. He's got an 80 grade speed on Fangraphs. I don't really know if I believe that or if he just doesn't really know how to run the bases with that speed. But yeah, he it's interesting. So I'm in on the comeback. I think I've said all along, or not all along, but early on, I said 15-15 kind of like sturdy guy, like maybe a 270, 335, like a really just sturdy guy. Is that like a Dansby Swanson-ish type? Maybe, but not exactly, but maybe a little bit. Well, something to look out for here, and I don't know what happened. Maybe he got a little banged up. I feel like he was banged up a lot throughout his development because AA, he stole 21 bags in 87 games. In 38 games, so a little under half, but he only stole 3 bags. That's 21-3, and he stopped running in AAA. Maybe they told him just focus on polishing your hitting. I don't know. Obviously that worked because his contact rates are outlandishly good. I'm not concerned here. It's just something to look out for going forward. Maybe makes him, I don't know. I don't really know what that even means, to be honest, but I like him. I think his arrow's pointing up. I'm not sure if everyone's really caught up though. I'm not sure if people would have him in the top 5. I think you're probably correct in having him there. He's on the doorstep. I think he's got a better shot of being a major league regular right now than Jordan Lawler.
Oh, wow. They could trade Lawler. I could see Lawler getting dealt this season.
He needs a fresh start, I think. That's just my hunch.
Yeah. Number 3 is going to be Daniel Egan. And by the way, I did not put Lawler in this list because I'm sick of ranking him. And I think he actually surpassed the 130 finally. But even if he didn't, I wasn't going to put him anyway because I was just so sick of ranking him because he's been here forever. So number 3 is Daniel Egan, who is like, I thought I was high on Daniel Egan, but he's like your favorite player ever. So why don't you talk a little bit about Daniel Egan as I pull up some video of Daniel Egan? No,
it's good. He was one of these guys I was interested in very late in our 30 teamer, dude. It's annoying. I had him in these other startups I was in last year, just picking him really late, taking these flyers on Egan and Joseph Sullivan. And then in our salary cap league, it was between him and Steven Zobak for my final farm slot. And I'm like, well, I'm competing. I'm here to win. Let's go with Zobak. He's in AAA, or he's about to be in AAA because he's such a stud. His fastball is looking great. No, Daniel Egan was the answer. That was my only time I wasn't faithful enough to him. Yeah, he's just got a nice arsenal. Love the curveball. Love the story. He had like brain cancer as a child. And he just seems like he's a great arm. Like, if you look at the stats, the command, something we want to kind of keep an eye out for moving forward. But I'm not super concerned as it only really peaked. Like, he's still 22 years old today. He played the whole season as a 22-year-old. In fact, he's turning 23, 23rd of November, so pretty soon. But yeah, big body. And I think that we have a good, well-rounded pitcher here. Again, I project him to be the number 2 in Arizona by 2028. And if they deal Corbin Burns before then, I don't know. Not crazy to believe he could be their ace.
Yeah, if you're watching the video here, in this video here, he strikes out 12 guys in 6 innings. And in the last video, he threw an immaculate inning, and all this stuff happened this year. And if you look at the arm slot, it's very over the top. It's very Trey Savage-ish arm slot. And I actually threw a comp on him of Ryan Pepio when I did my last rankings. He's a top 100 prospect for me. He was actually my number 89 prospect. So I'm right there with you. I'm going to pull up his F scores real quick so we can show off some of the F scores. But I'm a Daniel Egan stan, if you want to call him that, if you want to call me that. Let's show the F scores real quick here on Daniel Egan, as I was getting way too excited showing that video of the immaculate inning. That's sick that he did that. So Daniel Egan, a 116 F stuff, a 108 F control, and a 110 F ERA. And that was good for a 273 JA ERA between the last 2 seasons. Just this last year, is going to auto populate here. So, okay, it just kind of popped. So second half on 281 JA ERA, 20.5 K minus walk rate, but he's running 15% strike rates, swinging strike rates. And if you look at the game log, there's a bunch of games here of like 10, 11, 8 Ks. So Daniel Egan, a big name to watch. And do you think, Doc, is the hype all there? Do you think that there's still value here when it comes to prospecting? Like, can you still find value with Daniel Egan, or is there too much smoke now around him?
Yeah, I mean, you are a huge fan, and you're not high enough on him in your ranks. I mean, I think he's got to be top 50.
Ooh, love it. All right, so bye, Daniel Egan. Number 2, this is a guy who didn't play this year. Demetrio Crisantes. He was looking very, very good at the beginning of the year. Then he got hurt. I can't remember if it was Tommy John or he tore an ACL. He had something.
It was a labrum, I want to say.
Yeah, he stopped playing on May 14th. And look at the F scores for what he was doing before he got hurt. 103 power, 104 hit, 120 discipline, 110 speed. He was 86% success rate on the bags this year with 6 steals. Last year, he was 91% success rate with 20 steals. So he actually is really good on the base pass. He has an 86% contact rate. So he's a really good hitter. And there's pop here because he had a 195 ISO in his small little sample size this season. So Demetrio Crisantes was actually doing everything. And when I did my last rankings update, I was like, this guy would be probably a top 50 prospect for me if he was healthy, but he got hurt. So, and he hasn't played in months. So that's why I knocked him down and had him in the 70s or whatever. But he would have been a top 50 for me for sure had he not gotten injured. And I thought when Crisantes went in the tool shed mock, he was like that. He was on my queue. And I thought that was one of the best values in the draft. I can't remember who grabbed him, but I really wanted him to come back to me when he went.
Yeah, no, he's I think he's underrated. I think you have him a little high here. I wouldn't have him that high, but especially given the nature of the labrum, I looked it up. It confirmed that it is labrum. So, if that saps any power, it's not exciting. But we'll have to find out because the 34-game sample size, the four home runs there, would he have continued that, or was that a hot stretch? It's tough to say. And again, will the power be sapped when he comes back? I think this is a guy who's a major leaguer. He's not super tiny, right? He's 6 foot tall. He's already 180. He's lean, but it's almost a Maikel Garcia type of frame. It's wouldn't shock me for him to have some pop. So this could be a fun fantasy profile. I do think he's underrated. I think you've overrated him here, but I think in general he's underrated.
I like that comp. I actually had comped into mini Xander Bogaerts, but I kind of like that Maikel Garcia comp. I think that's a good one. Number 1, he should be number 1. Ryan Walchmut, really good season. I loved him last year when he was drafted. I couldn't believe he wasn't a first-round pick. I was like, how did this guy fall to the second round? He was the data darling of the entire combine before the draft. So he was the Brandon Compton of last year. And except he's actually way better than Brandon Compton, I think. But he was the Brandon Compton of last year. Fell to the second round, which was crazy to me. He's an SEC guy out of Kentucky. And this dude is really good. The F scores love him. You can see 107 power, 99 hit, 119 discipline, 107 speed. Outfielder, really toolsy outfielder. He reminds me of Lars Nootbaar kind of, because he's just exit velocity darling. And he had a really strong second half. So one of the things with Waldschmidt this year, it was almost like a tale of 3 seasons. He absolutely killed it in high A. And then he got promoted and really struggled when he first got promoted. And then the very end of the season, he was so good. I'm going to try to bring up here. Let's bring up August 1st to the end of the season. Look at this, Doc. last month and a half of the season for him, 175 plate appearances. So that's a decent sample size. He had 368, 483, 604 to a 1087 OPS with 8 home runs, even walk to K rate. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. And this guy, 28 steals, even though you don't love the stolen base rate, it's only 74%. So that's subpar. But he does at least run. So he's aggressive on the base pass. Like he finished so strong. Where are you on Ryan Waldschmidt? I think he was like a top 30 pick in our tool shed mock, or top 35 or something like that. Where do you have Waldschmidt? I've got him ranked at 31 right now.
Yeah, well, I don't know where I have him exactly, but I think you have to have him pretty high based on proximity and polish, right? I think that he was clearly super underrated last year in the drafts, in FYPD drafts. Like, it'd be good for you to be in our 30-teamer now, so you can kind of get where he went. I remember he slipped like the second, maybe third round in our FYPD draft. It was bad. It was really bad. And I had that side guy, the league villain, asking me, I have to take him, right? He passed on him like a couple times in the second. I didn't have any picks. But I'm like, dude, no. Yeah, I should probably I didn't want to give this guy advice because he's like that guy, but I'm like, take him. Yes. I know. I was like, I always like his name because it's Schmidt and Arizona. I'm like, yeah, it's Goldschmidt. It's the same kind of height, I think. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's looking like he kind of does everything just right. The steals are not super efficient, but they're not super inefficient either. We'll see how he polishes out there. He seems willing, which is half the battle sometimes. 29 stolen bases, 10 caught stealing. That did go up. Well, both numbers went up at AA. His homers were even across both levels, 9 and 9. It's an exciting profile. He knows how to take a walk. So his contact numbers they dropped pretty significantly from last year, but still in the 70s, still fine, especially his first run at AA there. So I think we're looking at a guy who, because of that ability to take a walk, because of that pop he carries when he does make contact, he may not be like a 300 hitter or something like that, but he could be a 260 to 270 guy, maybe even 280 in his peak season, and give you a lot of everything else, though. Like, this could be 20 home run power. This could be 20 stolen. This could be a 20-20 profile with good ratios. It's like, people that gets thrown out. I think 2020 gets thrown out a lot, but this is like, it feels like a pretty good floor here too. He's not someone you're just hoping, some toolsy guy you hope develops an ability to have a plate approach that works. I think this one works.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think we might get a Goldschmidt-Waldschmidt season here, which would be fun, because there are a lot of rumors that Goldie's going to come back for one more year and play with the Diamondbacks this year. Especially because Naylor's not there anymore. So that'd be really fun to get Goldschmidt and Waldschmidt in the same lineup.
That'd be cool.
So on that, when do you think Waldschmidt gets the call, Doc?
I think he needs to go to AAA first. So I think I don't know how to predict this team anymore. I think that they're so scrappy. I love the job that, like, whatever culture they've got going on there, because they sold and then kept winning games. It was like a weird thing. They almost made playoffs, kind of. So they're super scrappy. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if this is like a reset year, actually not winning 80 games year. But I don't know if they do things like bring on Goldie. What was your question?
When do you think Ryan Waldschmidt
Waldschmidt, so that's how it affects it. So, yeah. I mean, if they end up going for like a Goldie and like they trade, I don't see them really doing this. If they just go ahead with the team they have right now, I think you'll see him up sooner. I think you'll see him up by July. He should be starting the year in AAA, in my opinion. If he does that, if he starts the year in AAA after a hot spring training or something like that, then yeah, by July.
Yeah, I would say that too. I was gonna say I think he gets promoted on like the James Wood timeline is what I would give him, and that means if they sign Goldschmidt, they could have Goldschmidt-Waldschmidt back to back in the lineup. I really want to see it. It'd be like passing the torch almost from Schmidt to Schmidt. So that's the Diamondbacks for you. So thanks for watching, listening, whatever you do to consume this content. Follow Doc on X at Doc Eisenhower. Follow me at Fantasy Ace Ball. Doc, is there anything else that you're doing? Because you've been doing like little write-ups and stuff all over the place. What do you got going on for people who are listening, watching?
I'm so busy. I'm just trying to stay afloat. I pledged Prospects Live. I said I'll help out with Dynasty. I didn't realize it would take up so much time. So some of these articles, I'm doing Dynasty blurbs for certain teams. I'm writing up these some of the 2028 lineups. I'm just doing this, that, and the other. They're pulling me into a podcast tonight to talk about one of the teams I wrote up as part of the deal. They got a great organization over there. I think there's room for multiple folks. I think Data Warehouse is doing a great job here, and they're completely different offerings, in my opinion, to Prospects Live. But yeah, no, that's what I'm doing. And what I'm also doing is being forced to learn FYPD. So to the listener, you're like, this guy seems smarter than he sounded all season, because I actually have had to do some learning because I got thrown into a 25 team FYPD that I'm still drafting right now. Nice. So I'm starting to learn this year's draft class slowly but surely. I went with, maybe you'll know these names. I know we gotta head off, but I picked Ethan Holiday, which is easy to remember, and then Sean Gamble in the top of the second round. Oh, who was the third guy? It was a pitcher, Riley Quick. Have we ever talked about Riley Quick?
Yeah. We have not. I don't think we have. Maybe we did.
But that's where I'm getting. I'm getting deeper now. I'm getting to Riley Quick's world. 6'6", big boy. He was a 4-star offensive lineman. I feel like we talked about him at one point.
Yeah, we did. I couldn't remember if it was with you or with John, but if we talked about him, then it was probably you and me. But I like that. I like the Gamble pick too. We haven't even talked about the Royals yet, but I like that. So
I like the Royals system. We'll do a podcast about the Royals.
Yes, it will be coming soon. The Missouri connection. You got to do both Missouri teams. So that's the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse, where you can get all the fun tools, all the F scores, all that stuff, and play with the little sliders and stuff yourself, and look up whatever guys you just so desire. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next time. Metronome.